And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to I believe is the fifth episode. I don't think my coffee's kicked in, so my math might be off. But welcome to the fifth episode of the Stingers Up podcast. I'm Chris Raymond. I'm your host. And with me is the amazing Lola McCoy. Lola, how are you doing today?
I am doing pretty well today, considering that it's a Thursday. So I'm pretty it was Friday, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's the Friday Eve. There we go.
Exactly.
The week is almost done, and I know for all those students out there, it is midterm week. So stick in there if you still got some exams going on. If you've already finished your exams, pat yourself on the back. You did it. And if you're about 50-50, well, then you can kind of pat yourself on the back, but still stick in there. So Lola, as I understand it, I guess we'll kind of start off with I've been going over everyone's major and stuff like that. So Lola, you are a EI nursing major, an express interest nursing major. Is that correct?
I was
Or previous, I should say. Yes, I know we've had
before we had the name change. So now I'm a third year health science major, and I plan on continuing until I graduate with health science. So,
that's cool. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that because I know I started out as a nursing student myself, currently biochemistry. I like to suffer and not sleep.
Right.
But what brought you to become a nursing student? Was that your first major you decided on?
Yes, it was like my first and only major I decided on. Like just growing up, I've always wanted to, the slogan, I always wanted to help people
There you
and
go. Yeah.
person for people. But I remember because both of my parents, they are immunocompromised. So my dad has, I wouldn't say immunocompromised, but my mom has asthma, really bad asthma since she was younger. And my dad has high blood pressure, high cholesterol, stuff like that. So I'm not too sure if that classifies as that. But I would always remind them okay, time to take your medicine, here's your water, things like that. I was the mini nurse of the house. And I used to play outside all the time. So I got so used to bandaging myself up and hydrogen peroxide, alcohol, Neosporin, the whole shebang. That and my parents always kind of pushed on their kids to go into the medical field or anything health allied related, because you're always going to have a job. So it was that 100%, not 100%, more 99% job security or job guarantee. So that's what they really pushed on us as kids. So I was I love to help people. I'm a mini nurse running around the house. And 3, health, come on, it's a done deal. So I kind of took that with me into college, and I was you know what, I'm going to go and pursue a career in nursing,
Nice.
which I still plan on doing.
Cool. No, that's a great backstory right there. I know most stories I get, and that was kind of mine, was just well, I heard it's not a bad job. There's job security, and I can handle it. I think my intro criteria was I can handle gross things. I'd been working as an in-home caregiver for a couple of years, so definitely did my share of handling things I probably wouldn't have handled otherwise. And we'll leave it at that as far as the details go. And so I was yeah, I can do that. I have a compassion for people. Why not mix the two, get some job security? And, like I said, you're always working, especially if you're willing to travel and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Nice. That's really cool. Yeah. I like how your backstory actually had some good human compassion in it, from the get-go, from the roots, from back in the day.
I really tried to just say I have no human compassion at all, but that's just a lie.
Coming from an orientation leader. I have zero human compassion.
I don't care about point blank period coming from an orientation leader. I think we're gonna have to cut that bit out.
Yeah, we'll have to edit it. We'll do some sound biting.
Right.
No, I know what you mean. I think I know what you mean. Sorry, students. But no, that's really cool. So you said you're a third year right now. So you have what is it, about a year and a half, I guess, depending on how far in your third year. Are you feeling excited?
I'm excited. I'm nervous though, because it's over, it's almost over.
Yeah.
Halfway done, the first semester of my third year. And now it's really grind time, internships, like where do I want to go to grad school, because like graduating with like a health science is kind of like it really prepares you for just any allied health field. So I'm just like, where do I want to go with this? Like I kind of juggled around like, do I want to be like a communications liaison, like for a hospital, like something like that, because like I do like working with people, and I have like really good like communication and public speaking skills. So that's something that I thought like maybe I could do something along those lines, or just to go straight into a nursing program, either like a second bachelor's or like a master's of nursing program.
Yeah.
Right. Just go right in it.
Go for it.
Exactly.
Nice. No, that's really cool. Like, so yeah, I guess I was going to say, if you're, I could kind of answer the question right there, as far as if you, I was curious if you wanted to keep going with the nursing, or if, because it sounds like you're going to do the health science degree rather than the nursing degree, which is totally cool. That's the benefits of Sacramento State. But so I didn't know if you were open to doing other sort of like medical work, because I've had a lot of students in the past working as a tutor who they said, oh, I want to do nursing, but they opted out of nursing, but they still want to stay medical. So they went into things like respiratory tech and like other techs. I don't know all the names of them right now, but things where it's like, oh, I'm still in the field. I'm still learning a lot of the same knowledge. But I was just kind of curious on your stance on that.
Yeah. I mean,
If you're open to it, I guess.
I am open to it. It just kind of depends like on what aspect like I want to go into it. Because I always love learning about new things, and I have like many interests. So I was like, oh, maybe I can be an x-ray tech, or like maybe I could be the one doing like the sonograms for like the pregnant ladies. Maybe I can do that. But I don't know, like I'm a very indecisive person, because like I can wake up and I want to do one thing, and then I can go to sleep, and the next day I'm just like, no, I'm gonna go do that. Right.
Yeah.
So I really do like to have my options open, which I think like the health science degree is going to give me. Like it's a really broad, you can take it anywhere. So I just see it as a benefit.
Nice. No, that's really cool. And I know that's this is the first semester is rolling out, right? I know we went over it all during orientation, but I just wanted to confirm, make sure, like, so this would be the first semester where students are able to kind of go down that pathway, rather than I don't know, being on call, or just kind of waiting to get into, to be put in the game, so to speak, for the nursing program. I know the World Series just happened with some controversy, but nonetheless, kind of waiting to get into that nursing program. So it's cool that you're able to do that. And just like you said, it gives you all those options.
Right.
Were you thinking about maybe even looking into like maybe jobs you could get into immediately out of college? I was going to say high school, with the 4-year degree.
That's honestly something that I've been thinking about a lot, because I definitely played around with like switching my major to like either Gero, or switching it over to any like public health.
Is that gerontology? Sorry to interrupt.
Gerontology.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
I thought about switching over to gerontology, just to kind of help like the underrepresented elderly folks, or like the elderly community, or switching over to public health and do healthcare administration, more of like the backside of like what runs a hospital, things like that. But I know like those fields like will get me like a job security like outside of college, but I don't want to do it like just to get a job. Like I want to do it like just like not just because like I want a job, but I want to do it because I'm interested in like in that field, or just like I'm really passionate about that field, and I know like this major and this degree can open so many doors. But as long as I see it as like there's so many doors open to me instead of one door opens, like that's definitely gonna like change like the perspective on like how like you view it. Like if
No, that's pretty cool. I know I'm a weirdo, and on top of the biochemistry, I have that sort of microbiology background. So I definitely am a fan of the infectious diseases. You ever thought about going into something like that? Kind of working with disease outbreak, and just
no, most definitely. I really thought about that, because I personally haven't taken microbiome yet, so I plan on taking it either next semester or the
Well, we can
fall.
start right now. Grab some paper.
No, honestly, like yes, it's very like taxing, and I've heard like so many horror stories about like the class in general. But that's something that I'm very interested in, and like
Nice.
interested in just seeing like how it affects the body and like how it spreads and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I've definitely thought about going into that more of like community education like
Yeah.
area or like aspect of like public health. Um, but I don't know, like
I
I
mean,
just
they kind of meet though, right? Because you think if you're working with infectious diseases, rather, especially in a climate like this, we have COVID, flu season's coming up, all the other diseases we've had aren't on pause. They're still going on. So it's good to have that, especially in an outbreak of, hey, let's outreach to the community, give them some of that good information that, unless you're really versed in diseases, which not everyone really necessarily has to get through the day, unless you're crazy like us, then it's good to know some of those things because I know, or some of those like good facts about the diseases, because I know that's a big thing now, at least from my perspective. Um, is that there's a lot of, especially earlier on with the pandemic, a lot of conflicting information. So there was a lot of like, well, there's a lot of folks who seem expert, they seem qualified. Where do I really go? What information is valid? What should I listen to? What should I discard? So on and so forth.
right, no, most definitely. I really like understand like where you're coming from with
Mm-hmm.
the beginning of like the quarantine. Like nobody knows, like nobody knew anything.
Nobody
Like
knows.
right, that's so like demonic. I'm so sorry, but
That's how it was.
that's it's generally
It,
like how it felt because
yeah.
really had so many like expert sources saying like you can do this and do that and you'll be fine, like you'll be cured, and like nobody knew anything. So I just feel like that honestly just kind of like trickled down to like the continuous like confusion, and then the government not really saying much about it when
Yeah.
we like knew something was going on, but nobody like was saying anything. So we just kind of like took our thoughts, took our paranoia or anything, and then just kind of ran with it.
Yeah, and I know definitely that, and I don't mean to get too political on the podcast, but no, there definitely was I guess an absence of like unified information from the government would be a good way to sum it up. But I know even like back in the day, um, shortly after the pandemic broke out, you pull up on your phone, you kind of do little browsers, you see all the news articles, and you'd see like, oh, Doctor So and So is saying this, Doctor whatever is saying that, and you're like, okay, well these folks have PhDs, and you're like, man, do I listen to this one? And then sometimes it'd be like a study happens one week, and then like 5 days later, another study comes out. But some folks are like, but I read that other study, so this one's got to be wrong. So I definitely think it'd be cool to kind of find somewhere where you can bridge that gap between the infectious diseases and just that community outreach for
Yeah, no, most
for the
definitely.
peoples.
Especially like for like underrepresented communities or
Yeah.
marginalized communities, they really don't know like what to believe, or like they probably just don't know information in general.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's something that I'm like very passionate about, like just giving back to like the community and giving back to the people. And like if my giving back is educating them and like
Yeah.
supplying like my knowledge to them, because it's me doing a disservice if I have all of this information and all this knowledge and I don't share it.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, like you understand.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that
Yeah. We
like
do have human compassion, folks.
right, we do. We don't, and sometimes we don't, like if we don't have coffee. Um, so you're just gonna have to catch us on a good day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was something that was like really of interest to me. Just kind of supplying people with knowledge, especially like when the pandemic just first started and quarantine first started.
Yeah.
Like you would just see like homeless folks on the street, like they didn't know anything was happening until it was just like a word of mouth. And that's honestly something that's like very heartbreaking, that like we like aren't letting them know anything, or they're just kind of trying to navigate it like on their own. Like
Yeah. They
yes,
don't
like
have
they
the
have
same resources and
exactly
ability to. Yeah.
exactly, and I feel like that's something that we just take for granted, is just like the ability to get resources, or like the ability to do things
Or
within
even
our
just information, like you were saying.
Exactly. Like just
Yeah.
the ability to get information. And I'm not trying to say like, I'm not trying to generalize everybody that's not homeless, saying like we have all of these like resources
Yeah.
or like we have all of this like capability, technology, things like that. Like that's not what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like we do have like a little bit more privilege than those that like don't have anything at all.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, you are making generalizations, so we're not speaking against anyone individually or anything like that. And you are correct. There's definitely folks in society, whether they're homeless or not, who are not going to have that same access to the information or resources. And I think, yeah, just even the information alone is a big part right there. Just knowing
Right.
the right things, or like you said, even knowing there's a pandemic happening.
Right.
Like I remember hearing a story, not quite the same, but there was a guy who was like out doing some like backcountry hiking, you know, like no phone, no satellites, and like makes his way back to his truck. And I think like the ranger had known about him. There was a note like, there's a pandemic, you should get home right now. And so like that was the first time I thought like, man, what if you just didn't know, you know, for whatever reason, whatever situation. And especially
Exactly.
if it was something where you just didn't have access to the information rather than you were hiking in New
Right. I
Zealand.
heard that story too. And I was
Yes.
gosh, like imagine like just backpacking for 3 weeks in the wilderness, didn't know anything was going on. Like you leave home and it's normal life, and then you come back and everybody's like indoors, everything's shut down, like, and we're all confused.
Yeah, he was out, and I don't remember his name. He's like actually, I think he was like hunting, but either way, you know, he was still out in the woods. I think he was in New Zealand. He is from America, which I guess would make him American. I guess I could say it that way.
Right.
He is from America, the States,
Right.
but but yeah. So he was like out in New Zealand and came back, and like I remember seeing a picture, and somebody had like written in, it looked like mud or dirt, like they had nothing else, and they're like, how do I leave this guy in? Yeah, yeah, and it was like, get home now. I didn't even say like pandemic, because you're just like, yeah,
I'd be terrified if I came back and I saw that. I just think like there's like a serial killer going around, like
I'd be like, I can just stay out here. It's
right.
cool. Like,
Just like back around. Like I clearly have the resources to survive. So I'm just gonna go back. But
oh
yes,
my, yeah, I could not imagine like
I'd be
being out on some trip like that or something. I don't know. Maybe you're in like, I guess like a coma. You could put it in like a movie plot where you wake up and it's like, oh my God, by the way, COVID broke out.
right.
I think I heard about stories like that where there'd be, and some of them really tragic. Like you hear about like a wife wakes up from a coma and the husband got COVID while she was in the coma and died. And it was like, not only is there a pandemic,
Right.
but there's been some changes around the house. Um, I know
Yeah,
it's a terrible way to put it, but
it's not funny,
we're
but
trying to keep the podcast a little good spirits, folks.
right.
Um, but nice. So as far as this semester, I know we kind of talked a little bit about it before the we went live, but how are you enjoying this semester overall? Sounds like most of your stuff is virtual
Mm.
in some way.
Yeah, so this semester it's honestly posed like it's up and downs. And I really can't say I 100% hate it, but I can't say that like I love it. I'm kind of torn, like a 50-50.
Yeah.
Never in my life have taken online classes. I'm very much so like a visual learner. Like I have to see you teaching, or like I have to like be in person, like hear
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I have to be there. So it's had a bit of a learning curve to get used to it, not
Mhm.
gonna lie, but I also too feel like the versatility that online classes have has been a positive. Like I was on a road trip not too long ago,
Mhm.
and I just popped out my laptop and watched a lecture. Like
Right
we
in
don't
there.
exactly, like we
Yeah.
really didn't have like that capability like when we were in person. Like we either have to let our professors know that we
Yeah. Make a lot of arrangements.
right,
Yeah.
or we would have to like grab our notes from somebody else in the
Mhm.
class, where it's like now it's just so much more like easier
Yeah.
get connected, or like so much more easier to
Definitely.
watch a lecture and things like that.
No,
So
that's
yeah.
a really good perspective on it right there. Is like, well, it's a give and take, because
Right.
I'm with you. It's like, man, I love being on campus. I certainly nowadays I'm reminiscing on like, oh man, I used to have to spend 15 hours on campus. Like those were the days. But yeah, I'm with you. Like I like that social energy, one of just talking to other classmates, especially for like science classes. We're like, hey man, what do you think? But bouncing ideas off of folks, as well as seeing the professor and getting to know them and having that sort of in-person, I guess, energy of the interaction.
Yeah.
But it is pretty nice to be able to like kind of kick it. I know there's like sometimes where, especially for like asynchronous lectures where it's like, oh, we're just gonna do a recording. It's like, okay, I'll just put on my headphones and kind of like, I don't know, do some chores and be in both places. Probably not the ideal way to be a student, full disclosure, but it is nice to have that versatility, especially for like an asynchronous type situation where it's like, I'm not really participating. I'm just kind of, I call it YouTube style. Because that's kind of what it reminds me of. But yeah, it definitely has that versatility, kind of kick it in your PJs if you want.
Right. When it's like, yeah, like you can still come to campus in like your pajamas and stuff. Like we're just gonna look at you like a little.
I mean, granted, people still showed up to campus in their pajamas in the before time.
Showed up in my pajamas, like, and so, like I said, like we'll be like, okay, like it's just a bummy day, like we're just kicking it.
A bummy day.
Right. It's just a bummy day, but I really do feel like it takes away those drives to campus, and like for folks that lived like hours away. Like I heard of like a student that lived in Vallejo and just commuted every single day, every day.
Ooh.
Right. And I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't.
Yeah, no, and I know you and I have a very similar commute. I won't disclose the location, but we're somewhere in a Sacramento bunker. But yeah, I know you are also a commuting student who happens to have a very similar commuting distance.
Exactly.
And yeah, I know it's certainly not coming from Vallejo, but even the ballpark 30 minutes it takes me to get to campus. I think cutting out, that's a whole hour of driving a day if you come to and fro. And so it's certainly nice saving on the gas, saving honestly on the time. It's like, oh, I don't have to worry about that hour and making sure, because there's traffic, so we got to leave early and campus parking. So it's definitely been a give and take.
Man, that campus parking, it's definitely gotten better.
Yeah, it's funny now because I don't even buy the parking pass. Like I don't buy the semester pass. I just do the daily one. Yeah. And so like when I get there, I just drive right up to the ticket thing on the third floor, like park right next to it like I'm a cop. Now they're they're gonna get a ticket now that I talk about it. But they're gonna be waiting for me. But yeah, I just drive right up to the ticket thing, get my ticket, get back in the car, drive right back down, and I'm still parking like front row on the first floor. So the parking is great.
Parking is great if you get to have the luxury of going back to campus. But you really, I don't want to say like everybody does, but like for me personally, I just try to look at it through a more positive perspective. Just like saving gas, saving time, like that hour a day or like that hour to like 2 hours sometimes, like depending on traffic, it gets really bad. And even just like the versatility of opening up my laptop, watching a lecture, or like rolling out of bed, like going to my desk and then opening my computer. So just I've just tried to look at it like in a positive atmosphere or positive light. Like I remember I would run around campus because I forgot something. And then always when I have to print something, the line for the printers are crazy long. It's ridiculous. And I'm just like, why does everybody have to print? And always like one printer is not working, so everybody is lining up behind the other one. And I'm just like, I have a class in 5 minutes. So it just takes away all of that because you just submit everything online and then you go.
No, I had a sort of a similar analogous issue where I was uploading a lab report the other day and it was like, oh, we have to convert the format. And I was like, no, it's due now. Like, don't convert it. It's a PDF, man. Everyone takes PDFs. Just take it. But I definitely had a similar moment. But I know what you mean. All the little stresses that you don't really think about necessarily. Like no one goes like, oh, don't go to college. You're gonna have to stand in line for a printer. I should make a shirt that says that, but no one ever says that because it's not really an important thing and it's not that big of a stress. But like all those little stresses throughout the day, like I don't have to worry about that. I mean, granted, now there's some new ones. I've certainly had some internet issues during a class before where you're sending that frantic email. You're like, I'm sorry, man.
Right.
Can't get in. But yeah, no, it's definitely been an interesting experience. What are some things that you've been some tips or tricks or strategies to kind of keep yourself positive, keep yourself upbeat?
I can't say like I'm positive Sally every single day. Like
Yeah.
I have my days. But like when I've just noticed that I've just been a little too negative, I'm just like, okay, like let's take a step back. Let's look at it in a holistic sense. What is something that we can actually change about this situation?
Yeah.
Like we can change if we're gonna go to class or not. Like we can do that, but we can't change that it's virtual. Like so it's just kind of me like keeping a positive light, or like just having like a positive aspect of everything is just to just remind myself like it could be worse. Like it really worse.
Yeah.
So it's just being grateful for like what I have, and like the opportunity that presented itself to all of us. And just kind of look at it in that light. Like it still sucks. I'm gonna be completely honest. It still sucks.
Yeah.
But we just kind of have to think like it could be worse and just be grateful that it's not worse.
Yeah. No, careful saying that. Since then tomorrow we're gonna have like
I literally knocking on as we speak. I will just take those words like, right out of the air.
A volcano is gonna erupt in the middle of the Sacramento River.
Man, I'm so oh my gosh, like people are gonna watch this episode and be like, it was Lola. Lola did it.
Thanks, Lola. Thanks, Lola.
I knocked on wood. So superstitious, like like it's just not gonna happen.
They won't believe you though, because it was kind of off camera. So they're gonna be like, it might not have been real wood.
It really is though.
No, that's good that you're kind of making your own effort to that sounds bad, but yeah, you're making the effort to stay positive, even though, like you said, it is unfortunate. Like this is not a like, man, this year's awesome because COVID happened.
Right.
I mean, kind of from my gas bill, but like otherwise, it's a bummer, which is understatement, but it's good that you're making a good effort to stay positive, stay upbeat, and really just not let it get you down. I guess that's a better way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know since everyone has some extra time, relatively speaking, have you been doing anything like cool with the extra time? Like I know I've definitely gotten to like my Netflix lists of like, dude, I can finally watch those shows. I keep saying, oh, when I get time, I'm like, I got time now.
Right. No, that's definitely me. Like my Netflix has literally been piling up since I was in high school.
Yeah, since Netflix was invented.
It's so bad how many shows I said I was going to watch and never just got around to watching them. So really, like, I feel like quarantine has really made me self-reflect and just be like, okay, we got some things to work on,
Yeah.
So I definitely tried to pick up a new skill. I tried to learn how to cook. It just nothing ever clicked. Okay, preface, I know how to cook. I'm just lazy. So I just want to let that be known.
Fair enough.
So I have like definitely tried to like to pick up a new skill, and I don't know about you, but there was like a lot of pressure to learn something new in quarantine. Like use this time to like sew a rug or go outside.
Learn to scuba dive.
Right, like something so like along those lines, and I'm just like, I just actually want to chill. Like I really want to take this moment and just be like in my own and just like surround myself with like people that make me happy. So that's like how I've been spending my quarantine and like really trying to be unapologetic about it, with my decisions or like other things that I have to do, because with me personally, I'm always on the go. Like I'm busy. I like to have a busy schedule because it just keeps me like very structured together, without having like a structured schedule, if that makes sense. Like instead of having, okay,
I think it kind of did, but yeah.
It's like it keeps me structured without having like a routine. Like 7 to 8, I do this, or 8 to this.
Without getting too stale of a structure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it really just keeps me like moving and like keeps me on the go, which I really appreciate. But now I'm just like, oh my gosh, like let's relax. Like Lola needs a nap. Like, and Lola can take a nap and not like feel bad about it. Or like I can cancel plans, or I can like tell my job I don't want to come in like the day that you're asking me to come in, or like take days off, because I'm also like like when I'm working on something, or like when I'm at work, I really don't like to take days off, because I just feel like it will just like reflect on my performance, and it's just like something that I go through personally, and I'm just
like I don't want to stop. Yeah,
exactly. Especially like when I get in like the groove of things, I really don't like to stop, because like when you try to get back into it, like even after a day, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so rusty.
like yeah, I would say the first day is the worst day for pretty much everything.
It's the worst day.
First day is the worst day. Like, I mean, that's always a reminder, especially for like little home workouts. You know, you take a day off, you're like, man, I don't want to like lift. I could just watch some more Netflix. And you're like, come on, man, the first day is the worst day. Like,
the first day is the worst day.
Tomorrow it'll just be routine.
Right, exactly. But that's definitely like what I've been trying to do for myself, is just really just take a break and just like really focus on self-care and like self-reflection. Like, am I doing what I want to do? Am I happy with what I'm doing? So it's been good. I've had to make like some tough decisions, and like unapologetically like cut people off, or like cut people away, because they just weren't adding to like the positivity.
Program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You signed a membership and you didn't want to complete it. I'm just kidding.
I don't know if you read the fine print, but it's there.
Right. It is to uplift one another. No, I'm just kidding. But
yeah, no, I know what you're saying, especially God, and you know, things are so charged politically these days. Half of it's just that. You know, whether or not you're on one side or the other, and I know sometimes you're just like, I can't take any of it right now. I need to, you know, and I don't mean to push one way or the other on the podcast, but like, it's just crazy. There's just so much of it going on, and you're just like, all right, I need to take a rest. I've definitely had those days where you're like, going to sleep, going down. Like, I think the extra screen time has definitely added to that, you know, just staring at a computer.
absolutely.
Have you tried the blue light glasses out?
Oh, I actually have a pair.
I know, I got mine right here. Do you have yours? Oh,
I like need to see if they're like around me. I like wore these like over like the summer, and I really didn't understand them at first. I was like, ooh, like I just put like my night like time things on, and like, everything's like fine. But it really affected me like during orientation, when we were just like staring at the screen, and like I really don't headaches like that, but I just started getting headaches, and I was like, why is my head pounding right now? And I was like,
this is now the glasses episode, folks.
Right, it's the glasses episode.
No, I do like it. I like being able to throw on some glasses. I feel like it's now like an accessory. I'm like, nice. I get to. I will also say yours are incredibly fashionable. I like the little thin rims.
If I do say so myself.
Yes.
Yes. I actually found these when I was in SoCal. I think I was like, I want to say like 20 minutes away from Palm Springs. There's like an outlets out there, and I saw these. I was like going like through the stores, and they were on sale for like $4.
Yeah.
Like, I need them for work. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
So I just decided to pick them up.
Yeah, I noticed they help a lot when I'm doing like computer work late at night. You know, like usually if I'm working on the computer past 6 p.m., I'm throwing those on. I realized, because I definitely did buy them for orientation over the summer, that they do reflect a bunch. So I always felt like I was some weird, like aloof, like an anime character. Like, no one gets to see my face.
They reflect just so much.
Yeah, they do. They do reflect. Especially because, you know, you're trying to like brighten up the screen, and I have like my windows kind of right in front of me.
Oh yeah, like you can literally like see my blinds.
Yeah. So like, depending on your lighting, it definitely was. I felt distracting on a camera, but certainly when I'm working, you know, if I'm doing homework late at night or anything like that, it's like, oh, I'm throwing those on, and I really do notice that difference. especially on nights where I don't wear them. You're like, oh my God, I feel like my brain is like melting out through my ears or something. Yeah, the grind is real.
Oh yeah, 110%. I feel like honestly, if I don't have them on,
Mm-hmm.
like not so much like the brain melting, but I really just like clock out early. Like
Yeah,
I'm not condoning all nighters. It's not what I'm doing. But
yeah. I never condone all nighters.
there has been times where it's like 9 o'clock and I'm trying to like crunch out like an essay that's
Yeah.
due later that night, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just do it later. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely have noticed it a lot. And maybe it's partially because a lot of the homework I have these days is, looking at crazy, 5,000 graphs and a bunch of numbers and stuff. Chemistry is awesome. But part of it, it's just that's the format for the online, the virtual.
Right.
But point being, especially when you're sitting there for hours and you're just like, oh my God, you definitely have that. Like, I'm going to check out now. I can't do that. And the brain melt is usually like after I push past that and you're like, no, we can do this. And you're like, okay, no, I can't. We're done for the night. Like,
Right.
it's shutting down. Closing time.
Yeah, and it's like those like little lies that you tell yourself, like I'm gonna wake up extra early tomorrow and
Yeah.
we're gonna get it done.
Well, it's a different tired too than I'm used to. Like, I'm used to being more physically tired. And now it's just like, oh my God, my brains and eyes, which I think is kind of all one organ, but you can tell me you're more in the nursing game than I am these days.
They're not.
Fair enough. But nonetheless, I was reading somewhere that's like your eyes are a connection to your brain because it's all connected through nerves, and it kind of made sense, not to like jump topic completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like a weird different fatigue now, and I'm like, I'm not used to it. I don't know how to handle it, of just being like, I'm not tired, but man, I'm tired.
Right.
I can't look or think of stuff.
And that's like, as soon as you think like that, like that's just clock out.
Yeah.
Like, don't hurt yourself. Just clock out. It's gonna be there when you get back. Like, and just take like, I honestly feel like that's something that like needs to be taught to students. Not really taught, but kind of like suggested. Yeah, like suggested. Be like, hey, like you can study for like 4 hours, but you're gonna be mentally exhausted, and that's okay. Like, take like an hour break. Like, go watch Netflix for like an hour. Like, or just really just take a break to re-energize yourself, and then just as long as you know that you're going to come back to it, doesn't have to be like within 15 minutes, but just as long as you're going to get back on it, you're fine.
I always say, if you can, try to involve some sort of physical activity during your studying. Like, I know, especially when I was like first getting into the chemistry game, like just learning all the formulas and all the different things, like I would try to go outside and like I like to do a little boxing here and there. And so I would, just kind of go through a little bit of routine, not crazy, but like try to do something overall that keeps the blood flowing. Maybe it's a walk and you're kind of just thinking through the notes and maybe reciting them as you walk, or something you like to do. Something like that. That's my suggestion overall. And so that way it's kind of like what you're saying. You're not really sitting there just going through the grind of like 4 hours, all notes. You're doing a little something different. You're thinking a little different. You're honestly, you're getting the blood movements, which is a great benefit for the health. And then when you go back to sit down, you're like, man, I'm incredibly refreshed right now.
Right.
Yeah. Do some
just
jumping jacks.
Go. Yeah, exactly. Like, just go do like a quick energizer, come back to it. Or even if it's like late at night and you're just like, want to just chill, like allow yourself that, like, because at the end of the day, like, you're the only one, you're studying for you need to pass these classes for yourself, like, things like that. So whatever is gonna help you,
treat yourself,
go eat a whole tub of ice cream. No one's gonna judge you. I'm not gonna judge you.
I might judge you only because you didn't share with me.
Right. I'll probably eat a tub of ice cream. It's okay. And that's definitely like something that, like I said, should just be like suggested. Like, it's okay to give yourself grace. Like, it's okay to just say that you're tired. Like, I feel like for myself personally, I'm my biggest critic, and I'm my biggest
biggest judge.
Exactly. Like, I judge myself more than others judge me. And I'm just like, I'm my own worst enemy. There we go.
And
I'm just like, you could have done better. You could have done this. We could have just been amazing right now.
Had we not taken that pause or stop for a snack.
And I'm just like, okay, like this little devil needs to get off my shoulder because I'm mentally tired. I'm physically exhausted and drained. Like, and it's okay to give myself that time to re-energize and like recharge.
No, definitely. I definitely think there's like the key there is knowing those times when, I don't want to call them a time of weakness, but a time when it's like, hey, no, you probably could power through this. But then there's also really knowing that, just like you said, acknowledging when it's like, hey, no, you have been working and you've been putting in the time, take that break, treat yourself, step away from it, stop thinking about it. It's totally cool to go watch a Netflix episode or go do or eat a tub of ice cream. Maybe not every day. Then it will become a problem. Then that's a separate podcast. But definitely I think that's the key here is like finding those spots to, get the grind on, but knowing when to call it and sort of balance your own health with the school, especially these days.
Exactly. Because if like you decide to like power through like the rest of the night, like I know I've powered through the rest of the night and then the next morning I'm more tired than I was
gassed.
Exactly.
Done.
I'm about to sprawl out on the floor in the middle of class and just take a nap.
Yeah.
Like just how tired I am. When it all really comes down to just like giving yourself breaks and like incorporating breaks into your schedule, and also to just kind of time management, which is something that's a continuous like skill that needs to be worked on or like developed, like really trying to find like your own kink with it.
Well, especially with like the asynchronous stuff where you don't really, because before it was like, well, I don't have to manage my time as much. It's partially managed. I have to show up to this class at this time, at this spot. Don't really have a choice, if I want to pass. I guess you don't have to show up, but like you had this structure already there. Now it's like, well, I just gotta watch this lecture, and like you're saying, that's really cool. Especially if you're like, oh, dude, I could just be driving. Like your case, watch that lecture. But I definitely had this, especially in the spring, where you're like that looseness at first. I let it get to me, and I didn't really instill my own structure, and it was like, meh. And then I start like. Talked about this before where I woke up a couple times and I'm like, oh my God, lecture ended 30 minutes ago before I woke up. And certainly the all-nighters where you wake up and you're like, why did I do that?
Yeah, no, most definitely. I feel like it was very much so harder in the springtime because like professors didn't know what was going on. And obviously like we were we were kind of happy about it because we're just like, oh, a week off before spring break. We have 2 weeks off and like, they're going to figure it out and we're going to get back into it. And now it's October.
Yeah.
Now it's a later and we're still like rolling with the punches. So yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, no, it's that's definitely been the craziest thing is just, I guess, overall seeing the evolution of the pandemic itself. I mean, not only the disease, and we could go into that. We don't really have to, I guess, but I don't want to talk biology. But no, just how societies behave to it, in various aspects. And I know we're focusing more on like the educational student perspective because that's the best one. But yeah, definitely like that. Oh my God, what's going on? Like the students, we didn't know. Staff, they didn't know because no one knew. Maybe someone knew in the world, but no one really knew. And then now we're like, okay, we kind of know, but now it just sucks. Now we're just like dealing with it. I know I've started adopting the what I call Zoomware, where it's almost like the old skit where the guy has like the suit, like the top suit, but then on the bottom he just has his boxers on. And so I call it like Zoomware, where I'm not to that extreme. I still put on pants, but like I might wear my sweatpants, but I'll put on a nicer shirt. Full disclosure, I'm wearing sweatpants right now. And so, yeah, it's just kind of one of the things that's just changed it, Zoomware.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. I feel bad because sometimes I don't even turn my camera on for classes. But at the same time, I'm like, it's 9 a.m. Do you really want to see me at 9 a.m.? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 a.m.
It gives you the freedom to make facial expressions too.
If I don't know something, I'm just like,
that's what I like about the masks. Oh my God, you can go out in the public and you could see somebody and you could just make a face and you can just be like, ugh, and they don't see nothing. They just see your fancy Ravenclaw face mask.
Claw.
Yeah, well, not necessarily, but the design looks sick. So I'll rock it totally.
Also, you a part of? That's like the bigger question.
Yeah, it's gotta roll with the color scheme.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. I heard that the movies are coming to Netflix.
That would be cool because I actually don't think I've watched all of them. I've read all the books, and I think that's why I never watched all the movies. It's like, I know how it ends, man.
Yeah.
I knew 3 years ago, but yeah, I actually have not watched all the movies. I've watched most of them, but it'd be cool to kind of go back, I guess, since we have all this time. Speaking of it, and yeah, power through the Harry Potter movies. I know the I don't know if you're into Star Wars. The Mandalorian season 2 is coming out tomorrow.
I'm not a Star Wars person. I'm sorry.
Man, you got some time now, Lola. You could. That's definitely on Disney Plus. I can confirm.
I don't think that I want to hop into that. Not even gonna lie. I'm a Trekkie, so
Fair enough.
that's what I love. I grew up on Star Trek. I might hop into it because the fan base is crazy.
I do like Star Trek. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Huge. Like the Star Wars fan base is so huge, and it's like it's so incorporated in like our like pop culture like today and everything.
It's so rivaled. Like if you like Star Trek, you're not allowed to like Star Wars.
Please leave me alone.
Yeah.
As one person, please leave me alone. I love Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda is adorable.
There you go.
Really, please just back up. Just back up.
What was I gonna say? Have you seen and I know we're kind of getting close to our allotted time. Lola is a very busy person, so she will have to be leaving shortly. This will not be the usual 5-hour podcast.
Right.
But
we can hop back into it.
Yeah, we can. We'll figure out another time. But have you seen the what's it called? The new Star Trek show, Discovery?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I've heard about it, and I have like on some watch list somewhere, but I have not.
I've been seeing like YouTube ads for it, and it looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like, and I definitely am down for Star Trek. So it's like, And I was curious, since you brought up that you're a Trekkie, I was like, dude, now you're my expert. Now you have to watch it. Let me know.
Now I have to watch it. And what's so crazy is that like on Hulu, it has like the older like Star Trek first generation movies. So that's really something that's interesting to me. So I'm going to have to watch that since we do have the time. And in the next podcast, I will be the Star Trek semi.
Nice. Yeah, we'll have to do, what is it, Discovery, and the other one that I'm admittedly more excited about because I'm God, I can't remember. Jean-Luc Picard, the Picard show. I know they came out with that. I can't remember the actor's name off the top of my head right now, but point being, he's like, that's like my favorite Star Trek. I think because that guy is just so cool and so British,
so amazing.
And so I'm down to watch Picard. So we'll have to pick something and we'll do a Star Trek episode. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's like, yes, talk more about Star Trek.
No,
that one person.
That one person. We'll get into it. And then when Harry Potter finally comes to Netflix, we'll get into that too.
Yes, we'll have the Potter episode. I'm sure there's some folks on the O team we can get on for that.
Oh, 100. There's many folks.
We'll have to get representatives for each house. Maybe we'll do that.
Absolutely.
It'll be a panel, a Hogwarts panel.
Yes. I went to, so I took like the first, I took like just a Harry Potter house test. I have not read the books, not watched the movies. I've probably gotten through the first half of the first movie, but I watched the last movie, the part 2 of the last movie. So I know how it ends. The middle part, no idea what's going on.
I love it.
Will watch that, so no one please get on my case.
You did the Wikipedia version of watching the movies. You're like, I'm just gonna watch the first scene of the first movie and the last scene of the last one.
Yes, that's what I did.
The in the middle doesn't really matter.
Right, exactly. Nobody please come after me. I am gonna watch what I said, but I took a house quiz or a house test, and I got and I was so happy that I got Slytherin. And then I went to Universal Studios. You know how they put the hat on you, and they're like, "Oh, what house are you from?" That's cool. And then they're like Gryffindor, and so many people were upset that I got Gryffindor. Because there's a line and a crowd of people, obviously diehard Harry Potter.
Oh, they wanted it. Oh, okay.
Gryffindor. So I sat down, and then they put the hat on, and they're like, Gryffindor, like, you know how they say it.
Yeah.
So many people got mad because they were getting like Hufflepuff or like Ravenclaw or like Slytherin, and I was like, dang it, I want Slytherin.
Like, I will sell my ticket to Gryffindor.
I will
200.
you this title if that's what you want.
200 was it Newts, I think. Like, they had like their own coins and currency. I can't remember. It's been a while since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Nice. So I know we're kind of getting towards the end of our hour here, because Senator McCoy has to keep moving on to further events across the state. But no, it was great having you on the show. I know it was a cool little talk. It was short but brief, but hopefully it was sweet for the crowd.
It was good. It was really good. I had a great time. And I told you to start a podcast ever since I want this on the record. Ever since Chris got the mic, I was like, you need to start a podcast. Maybe some ASMR. We'll throw that in there, like film, like a mukbang, something. Give it to the people. Give it to the fans.
Yeah, I think I was actually talking the other day. I was like, I should do a mukbang with my dog. Maybe like a dog mukbang. Just like watch my dog eat a bunch of food.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll figure it out.
We'll love it. We will love it.
But no, Lola, it was a great episode. It was good having you on. I know it's midterm week, so everyone's pretty busy. So hopefully the short episode will also work for everyone's schedule too. But nonetheless, thank you for coming on. And of course, to everyone listening, wherever you are, on whatever you're listening with.
Yes.
Stingers up.
Stingers up.